Hello everyone and welcome to another video where today we're going to start talking about cooking in the wilderness. In today's episode, we're going to talk about foraging for wood to fuel your fire for cooking. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as just picking up any old stick off the ground. Ideally, you'd have some nice split logs like this to fuel your cooking fire. But that's not always an option. Maybe you're trying to stay alive, trying to cook a soup out of a wild edible like this field garlic. Or maybe you want to be a little more resourceful when you go out camping to cook your steak or hot dogs. I mean, split wood like this is heavy, needs to be kept dry, and in some cases, depending on your jurisdiction and the type of wood, really shouldn't be carried around to different places. But I've gone on long enough about that. When it comes to making a cooking fire, if you know what you're doing and you choose the right sticks off the ground, you can get great results. First step is to choose the right species of wood. This can be a complex and complicated task, and it depends greatly on where you are and what's available. In later episodes, I'll go in depth on specific species that are choice campfire woods, like this hickory, but for now I'll just give a general overview. In general, you want to be looking for hardwood species, like oak, ash, maple, hickory, and fruit woods like apple and cherry. Softer wood species, especially resinous ones like pines, are not ideal, and in some cases they can even be poisonous. But, as I said before, the specifics are for another day, and depending on where you live, they might not even be applicable to you. For reference, I do most of my videos in and am most familiar with the northeastern United States. If you live anywhere else, you should probably do your own independent research on what's best in your area. Now, so far, all I've said has been applicable to both campfire cooking with split logs and foraged wood. If you are using foraged wood, there's an extra step insofar as you need to check the quality of each branch you'll be using. Now, to check the quality of a branch, there's many ways to do it, but one of the best ways is to just split it in half. Visually, you're looking for two things. First, you want to check the color of the wood. There are a lot of, depending on the wood you're using, accepted sort of color variations. Usually tans, browns. Oftentimes you'll have a little red in there, but you want to make sure that there's no fungal activity. And second, there should be a very uneven split. Wood that is of good quality generally splits with the grain. And the last indicator I use is smell. Now, this varies depending on where you are and what wood you're using, but in general, the woods I typically use for cooking smell subtle, pleasant, and slightly sweet. Wood that smells musty, especially aromatic or resinous, or generally unpleasant, is probably not a good idea to use. This is an example of a piece of wood that is below the quality that you would want to use for cooking. It's a piece of red maple, which is not the best wood for cooking, but it's fine. But you'll notice the discoloration of the wood, and when you split it, it splits mostly against the grain. And as far as smell goes, in the case of rotted wood, you might think it'll smell bad, but oftentimes, especially if the wood is close to an acceptable quality, like in this case, it actually smells sweeter than it should. Oftentimes much sweeter. Now, because all of this is very natural and chaotic, quality is very much a spectrum-based thing, and depending on your application, you may have the cutoff at different points. If you're just boiling water for tea or a soup, especially in cases of survival, you don't need to be as selective in your quality as if you were, say, grilling a steak while camping. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I know that was a lot of information and there's more coming, but unfortunately, when it comes to cooking on a campfire, nothing about it is very easy. It makes you really appreciate the simplicities of cooking on a stove indoors. Anyway, hope you all learned something and enjoyed. See ya.